Hi guys, and welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. Now today we're going to be learning how to make this adorable gravity defying bumblebee cake. Everything you need to know step by step, all the equipment needed to make it. It's really easy. I can't encourage you all enough to give this cake a try. Remember, if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and I'll be back soon, everyone, with an awful lot more new content. Happy baking, guys, and let's make a start. To support our gravity defying cake, we are going to be using Cake Frame by Dawn Butler. You are going to need a 12-inch square baseboard. Everything you will need will be in the description below this video. You're also going to need 3 short foundation pieces. These all come with what's called a lock nut. As well as that, we're going to be using a small rod. These are 2.5 centimeters and come in packs. Along with this, you will want 2 plain adapters. Again, everything will be in the description below this video, along with a link to the official website where you can purchase them from. As well as this, we're going to be using a medium rod. These are 5 centimeters. And then finally, we also have what are called platforms. So I have a 4-inch round platform piece and a 6-inch round platform. What you can see on the table, those white dots, those are called blanking caps, and these come with the baseboards and the platform pieces. Start by taking your small foundation piece, place it on the top of your 12-inch square baseboard, and then taking a lock nut, simply secure this into place just under the board. Now, taking your small rod at 2.5 centimeters, simply slot this into the foundation piece. This is how we're going to slowly build up our gravity defying structure. Next, you want to slot into there the plain adapter. This is just so that we can place on the next short foundation piece. Taking another short foundation piece, place this onto the top of the plain adapter. Now you want to add your 4-inch round baseboard, and again, taking the lock nut, simply secure this into place. Taking the medium rod, which is 5 centimeters, you want to now slot this into the top of the 4-inch round platform. Taking another adapter, place this into the top of the medium rod. And then finally, your other short foundation piece, this will be the last one, place that on top of the adapter and repeat what we did with the 4-inch platform, but this time with the 6-inch platform. Simply place this on top and screw it into place with the lock nut. Taking the blanking caps, simply fill in the holes on the 12-inch baseboard. Now that we have our structure in place, I just want to remove the 6-inch round platform, but that is the only part I am removing. As you can see, everything else is still there, and we can now start building our cake around this. So to build our cake, we're going to start by placing some more blanking caps on the 4-inch round platform. This is just so none of the cake actually falls through onto our baseboard. For this particular cake, I have baked 2 half-ball cakes. I have a delicious Victoria sponge recipe, which I will leave a link for you in the description below this video. I have a sharp knife and a bowl for any excess cake, and some buttercream. Again, I have another delicious recipe and I will leave a link to that for you. You're also going to need a cupcake corer because I'm not going to be adding the jam filling like I normally do, and I'm choosing to use Hartley's jam. Now you want to start by cutting a small amount of the top dome of the cake, so it's roughly 4 inches flat. Taking some buttercream, simply place some on top of the 4-inch platform and then gently secure your cake on the top. Once you've secured your cake in place, you then want to trim off a small amount off the top of your dome. To add the jam, I'm choosing to use a cupcake corer. I'm simply going to remove a small amount of cake, place some jam in the centre and then put the cake back on top. By doing this, I'm not going to be risking any of the jam oozing out due to the gravity-defying structure that I have with this particular cake. Now we want to simply cover the top of this with an awful lot of delicious vanilla buttercream, and then we're going to finish it off by adding the final part of our gravity-defying support, the 6-inch platform that I removed earlier in this tutorial. Add some more buttercream now to the top of your 6-inch platform to act like a glue for the other half of your cake. After trimming the base of your other half of the ball cake and repeating the process that we did with the first one with the jam, you're simply going to apply this to the top of the cake and then completely crumb coat it. To crumb coat the cake, it's just a basic case of covering the whole cake with buttercream and smoothing it out. This will give more protection to the cake whilst it's in the fridge, and you just want to cover all of your ball shape. Whilst our crumb coated cake is in the fridge, we want to start making the legs and the wings for the bumblebee. For this I'm using Renshaw's Jet Black. You're going to need some Tylo powder and a teaspoon, and I've also got some edible glue, a brush and 3 lollipop sticks. Taking half the pack of your Renshaw's Jet Black fondant, so 125 gram, add half a teaspoon of Tylo powder and simply knead this in order to turn it into modelling paste. Taking each lollipop stick, start by cutting them all in half. To make our bumblebee's legs, we're going to be taking some of the Jet Black modelling paste, rolling it into an extremely thin sausage shape. We will then be sticking one end of our lollipop stick into the edible glue, gently feeding the sausage shape onto the lollipop stick, making sure the back half is slightly bent just to give the cake more definition, and we will be leaving these to set overnight. You now want to repeat this process 3 more times so that you have 4 legs in total that look like this. So this is what you're aiming to achieve, and now I want to do 2 lovely swirls for the front of our bumblebee. So again, we're going to do a very similar process. We're going to be rolling a sausage shape, again with modelling paste because this needs to set lovely and hard. And then with our 2 remaining lollipop sticks, I will be dipping half of it into the edible glue, feeding it onto the sausage shape, and then creating a very simple swirl. Again, these need to be left overnight in order to set. In order to create the wings, you want some white modelling paste this time. I'm choosing to roll mine in between 5mm spaces. I have a rolling pin, a love heart cutter and some icing sugar. Start by simply dusting down your surface, and then you want to cut out a love heart shape once you have rolled out your modelling paste. Once you have cut out 2 love heart shapes, gently feed a cocktail stick into the base of each one. This will help secure them onto your cake. Again, leave them overnight to set. I now want to add the bumblebee's face. In order to do this, I've got some Renshaw's yellow fondant, and I'm going to be rolling it in between my 5mm spaces. I'm going to be using a 5-inch round cake board just to cut out a rough shape. However, once I have that rough shape, I will then be making it into more of an oval just by using my rolling pin and then simply placing it directly onto the buttercreamed cake. Using a flexi smoother, I'm just now going to simply smooth away all of the lumps and bumps on the face, but attempting to keep it an oval shape. Now I want to make a start on the bumblebee's eyes. For this, I'm just using 2 very basic crown cutters. I've got some normal white fondant and some cling film. This is a very, very simple technique. Taking a piece of cling film, you want to simply wrap this around the smaller cutter. Now, taking your white fondant, you don't need a rolling pin, just push this down slightly. Now, using the cutter that we have just covered with fondant, if you actually cut out a shape whilst it's covered in cling film, it will have a much smoother edge. Simply repeat this because you want 2 for both eyes. I now want to add a yellow rim to the top of each eye. Very simple technique. I'm just going to roll this out, but then using the larger round cutter, I'm going to cut out a lovely circle shape. Place the cutter slightly below it and then use that as a guide to place them directly onto the white eyes I have just created. Repeat that process for both eyes, and this is what you're aiming to achieve. Taking a small amount of black fondant, simply roll this into a bowl. We're going to be just adding the finishing touches to the eyes, and these are going to be the pupils. Once you have placed them on each eye and gently push them down, you then want to take a small amount of white fondant, a very, very small amount, and repeat that process, but simply add the small white ball on top of the black pupil. This will just give the eyes an awful lot more definition and make them look more realistic. Now I want to simply glue the eyes directly onto the face of the cake. I'm just going to be using some edible glue and a couple of cocktail sticks to help hold them in place just until they have set completely. So this is what we have so far. All I have done for the mouth is rolled a very simple sausage shape. Before we start to add buttercream to the bumblebee, I now want to place 2 layers of fondant on my baseboard. To do this, start by applying some water. I've got 750 grams of Lincoln Green fondant, which has been rolled in between 5mm spaces. I'm simply going to place this on one half, cut it down, place it on the other half after I've rolled out another piece, and then I'm going to be using a number 27 piping nozzle and turning it into more of a grass effect. Using the number 27 piping nozzle as mentioned, this is the effect that you can create. It's really, really, really simple. You simply just place it into your fondant before it's set. It does take a while, but it creates a lovely, simple grass effect. A really good tip for you before we start to actually add the bumblebee's fur. If you take a Dresden tool and on your fondant, on your buttercream covering, if you just draw a guide so that you know exactly where you're going to be placing and piping all of that fur. This way you can't make a mistake. To pipe the fur, I'm using the Gem Small Grass Piping Nozzle number 233. It's very, very simple. I'm starting with some black buttercream, and you just want to push and pull away very, very slowly. Take your time doing this because this adds the best effect to the cake. A good tip for making black buttercream, you want to make some chocolate buttercream first using dark chocolate, not milk chocolate, and I have added the Americolor black food coloring, and it's given me this beautiful black buttercream that has not split. Continue to cover all sections that you have marked out with your buttercream before we add the yellow. How amazing does it already look? Now we're going to be piping on some yellow buttercream, again using exactly the same nozzle. I have used the Wilton Golden Yellow to colour this particular buttercream. Again, take your time, and it's simply just a case push and pull. Have good control over your piping bag. Practice makes perfect. All we're going to do now is add the legs, the wings, and those lovely little swirls to the front of the cake. I'm going to speed up this process just so that you can actually see me add them to the cake, but so I don't bore you to death at the same time. And here he is, completely finished. How adorable does he look? I've just added a few flowers to the base. That's completely your choice. Give it a go, guys. And remember, if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. Happy baking, and I'll be back soon.